3 true events, each stranger than the last. These are tonight's Midnight Footnotes. One woman began dancing and could not stop. In July 1518, Frau Trophia moved through Strasbourg streets for days without explanation. Within a week, dozens joined her against their will, ruining their shoes and feet, while frightened families desperately tried dragging them home. Physicians blamed overheated blood and prescribed more movement, so officials built a stage and hired musicians to keep the afflicted dancing. The treatment enlarged the spectacle until chroniclers later claimed hundreds were affected, turning one woman's agony into a citywide emergency. Then the council reversed course, dismissed musicians, banned dancing, and sent the sick to a St. Vitus shrine outside Strasbourg. By September, it faded. Records confirm the dancing, but no reliable death count supports later stories of daily fatalities. Ergot causes spasms, yet poisoned people rarely dance for weeks, and outbreaks followed beliefs more closely than harvests. Many historians suspect stress became physical amid hunger, disease, religious fear, and frightening stories about St. Vitus. Strasbourg danced. The mystery is why terror became contagious motion, turning shared fear into a rhythm hundreds obeyed. A molasses wave outran traffic. In 1919, a tank burst beside Boston Harbor, releasing 2 million gallons. The 50-foot tank dominated the North End. Residents knew it leaked. Children caught drips while workers painted the steel brown. After bitter cold, sudden warmth and fresh molasses filled the flawed tank. Metal groaned, then rivets snapped outward like gunfire. A fast brown wave tore through Commercial Street, lifting wagons, crushing buildings, twisting railway supports, and catching workers at lunch. Molasses flowed like a heavy river, then thickened as it cooled, pinning victims beneath wreckage while rescuers risked becoming trapped themselves. 21 died and 150 were injured. Sailors, firefighters, and Red Cross teams searched while harbor water dissolved syrup. The owner blamed sabotage, but investigators found weak steel, no proper testing, and years of warning leaks ignored by management. After years of testimony, an auditor blamed the company, strengthening demands for engineers, sealed plans, and independent inspections. Molasses sounds harmless. That is the lesson. Ordinary material becomes deadly when bad design stores millions of gallons above a neighborhood. 3 keepers vanished from a locked island. In December 1900, Hesperus reached Aileen Moor and found nobody waiting. James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur were missing. A ship reported the lighthouse dark before storms delayed relief. Joseph Moore climbed alone. Doors closed, beds empty, clock stopped, stove cold, and lamp machinery ready. Inside, life seemed interrupted. Heavy weather clothing was missing, suggesting the men went toward a landing, but no survivors were found. At the West Landing, investigators found bent railings, scattered ropes, and a life buoy torn away 110 feet above sea. Robert Muirhead concluded all 3 were securing mooring gear when an enormous wave climbed the rock and swept them into the Atlantic. The evidence fits that theory, yet one rule remains puzzling. At least one keeper should have stayed inside while others worked outside. Later, stories invented eerie clues. Official evidence is quieter: violent weather, damaged equipment, empty rooms, and uncertainty. The island kept a dark lamp, 3 empty beds, and wave damage high above the sea. Certainty vanished forever with the men. Which story stayed with you? Subscribe for more Midnight Footnotes, where the strangest records are always real.